Reading this article from medium.com, Renee Rose. From the moment that humans were able to think and ponder, we have wondered about our origin. Where do we come from? Why are we here? A new theory seeks to answer that very question, the theory of the prison planet. While nearly every culture on the face of the planet has sought to explain our presence on Earth, science has taken the reins in recent years to develop a possible hypothesis. Recently, the theory of the prison planet has begun to gain traction. Developed by American ecologist Dr. Ellis Silver, the prison planet theory states that the origin of humankind is not found here on Earth, but elsewhere. Silver contends that we are not an evolutionary product of this world, but rather visitors that found ourselves on Earth relatively recently in the geographical timescale. Silver goes on to argue that we may have come to Earth anywhere between tens of thousands of years ago to hundreds of thousands of years ago, before breeding with earlier developed species such as the Neanderthals, causing us to become the hybrid species that we know as humans today. So to sum that part up, we were quote-unquote aliens from another planet.
Or at least half of us.
Yes, our ancestors, they came down, they found this planet, and we made it with the Neanderthals that were here on Earth, which are basically like cavemen, cavewomen, and then created the humans of today. And like if you look up like Neanderthals, like they had different shaped skulls, and like this would explain a lot, because like our wisdom teeth that we don't use anymore,
They started, oh yeah.
and like all this stuff, that's because we're not Neanderthals, we're something else, we're a crossbreed. If you're anything like me, this theory seems a bit far-fetched. It should be noted, however, while Silver's theory sounds like the ravings of a madman, he is anything but. Rather than being the usual tinfoil hat-wearing enthusiast, Silver is a respected scientist. He even has some evidence to back up his claims. According to Silver, it all starts with the fact that we, as a species, really don't belong here on Earth. There is, in fact, no species on Earth that can contend with humankind's ability to create, philosophize, and advance in a technological sense. Silver also states that humans possess many physiological characteristics that suggest we didn't originally develop here on Earth. In fact, Silver lists a variety of differences between us and nearly every other life form found on Earth. According to Silver, these differences can be observed as early on as the beginning of our lives. The first example Silver offers is the fact that human mothers can experience both complications and pain during natural childbirth that is not witnessed elsewhere in the animal kingdom. While it can be argued that many of these complications may be due to the size of a baby human's head, Silver argues that there is no basis for this to be normal if this is a result of evolutionary progression.
I always thought it was strange that we evolved to
Right, and we haven't
have difficult births.
Yes, exactly. Silver also argues that human babies are virtually helpless for years after birth, developing excruciatingly slow when compared to the rest of the animal kingdom. Within the animal kingdom, rather, it is the norm for babies to become fairly self-sufficient in a rapid amount of time. While this may seem like enough to make you raise an eyebrow, there is still much that Silver has to say. Silver goes on to note that as humans age, we display certain anomalous traits that we don't share with other members of the animal kingdom. He cites the fact that we are extraordinarily prone to developing chronic illnesses, that we are weak to the impact of the sun, we are the only species that experiences sunburn, and that the range of frequencies that we can hear is relatively low compared to the rest of the animal kingdom.
Ew, it's getting spooky.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, we don't belong here.
We don't belong here. Silver even goes on to cite the reason that humans are so prone to back issues as being the gravitational difference between Earth and our home world.
It's getting interesting.
While there are a number of other interesting differences between the human race and the majority of the animal kingdom that Silver goes on to highlight, it seems that he is of the opinion that our bodies are not well suited for the earthly environment. This is a direct quote from Silver. My thesis proposes that mankind did not evolve from that particular strain of life, native Earth organisms, but evolved elsewhere and was transported to Earth between 60,000 and 200,000 years ago. Mankind is supposedly the most highly developed species on the planet, yet is surprisingly unsuited and ill-equipped for Earth's environment. harmed by sunlight, a strong dislike for naturally occurring foods, ridiculously high rates of chronic disease, and more. This suggests, to me at least, that mankind may have evolved on a different planet, and we may have been brought here as a highly developed species. The Earth approximately meets our needs as a species, but perhaps not as strongly as whoever brought us here initially thought. So let's say all of this is true. If so, where is home? Where did we come from? Silver has his own theories. According to him, it is a strong possibility that Earth serves as a prison planet for holding prisoners who found themselves incapable of integrating into the normalcy of society.
That's why we have such a hard time coexisting with all of our people.
According to Silver, it is highly possible that our ancestors were exiled here on Earth due to their own indiscretions, leaving them to be forgotten about before they continuously began breeding with the Neanderthals. We were left here because we were put in prison on a prison planet, and then they just forgot about us or left us and was like, we're not worthy to be picked up. So obviously, you know, even that creature had needs, started banging the Neanderthal. Calling it the prison planet theory, Silver remarks on why we all find ourselves here, saying, one reason for this, discussed in the book, is that the Earth might be a prison planet, since we seem to be a naturally violent species, and we're here until we learn to behave ourselves. We are naturally violent. Funny, we've even created prisons on our prison planet for the extra violent ones. Parents, I've been good, haven't I? Come get me. Get me. Silver further goes on to add some weight to his theory by stating that our ancestors may have had overseers at one time. These overseers became gods in the minds of our ancestors. So this is explaining gods. And it's because all these traditions that have been passed down, it's all because it was our ancestors that were coming and checking on us. And at that point, we started to breed.
That the objection that I read was kind of like the accounts in the Bible of when angels came to people, because he noted eyes. Like he was, you know, like he was really fixated on the eyes that he was seeing. And it was like a spinning disc. And like, you know, like one of the angels was like a spinning orb of eyes or something.
I'm going to put up a depiction I found on Reddit of like a drawing of what an actual angel looks like.
Yeah.
Just...
And the aliens told him not to fear. Angels always say, do not fear. And then, like, there was one part I didn't mention where they were thinking that the reason they were examining them was to see how much like them they were. Like, how much like them they were to the aliens. So maybe they were seeing how different they become from
the
breeding.
The breeding. And now they're looking, and that's why we're getting prodded and all this stuff. They're looking at the differences.
Ooh.
They're collecting semen.
Gross.
And, like, all this stuff, and they're like, well, look, you know, this is what our ancestors have done. This is what we've become on this planet Earth. So these overseers became gods in the mind of our ancestors. He even suggests that the UFOs that we see today may be our overseers coming back to take a look at us and see how far or how little we have progressed on our prison planet.
Making sure we can't fly away and try to get back to them.
Yeah, because imagine we're now traveling into space and stuff. Like, what if we found this out? If this isn't true, this could be a freaking movie. Like, we're always scared. What if aliens exist? What if they come and they land on the Earth and they want to, like, kill us and all this stuff? Someone should make, like, a movie where it's the opposite. We're the freaking aliens. We found out y'all abandoned us here because we couldn't live up to the normalcy of society. We find the planet they're on. We go up there and we freaking just destroy them. Like,
oh, my God. That's where your thoughts go?
Yes, we're the freaking beasts. Like, we're the violent. We got the violent nature. We go up there banging on our chest and just...
I was thinking more like, you know what, maybe we can reconcile with them, like, you know, show them, like...
Sorry, that's my violent nature. I'm going to be left behind, okay? That's the rapture. When the rapture comes, they're going to take all the people that have moved past their violent outbursts, and you're going to go, and I'm going to stay. I was kidding. Most people are not actually going to believe this theory, but I don't know. I think it holds some weight.
It does. I think it was really interesting, and it's like a cool, like, thought to travel down.
Yeah.